All right, morning everyone. Let's go. Okay, last night's session on the S&P and Nasdaq was a bit softer than we've seen in a while. Still the same sort of thing. I mean, we got down a little bit early on and really just drifted sideways for the rest of the session. We tried to start to grind a little bit higher in the last hour and a half, but couldn't really hang on to all of those gains, and just finished modestly lower. I mean, very healthy correction. If you're in the bull camp, I think you can argue that was a needed a needed pullback and a little bit of relief after really technically overbought market. So nothing to really get the bears too excited here. Yesterday we had the World Bank, which cut its 2014 growth forecast, really probably more than anything on the back of U.S. weather, also potentially because of the Ukrainian and Russian situation, but obviously it's something to take note of. One of the actually bigger things that happened in the market yesterday before yesterday's market session was in the previous day, the loss of Virginia Representative Eric Cantor, who's probably looked at as one of the most business-friendly representatives in the House in the U.S. and was actually was very closely looked at as potentially taking over John Boehner as Speaker of the House. So that was a big shock to markets. He's been a big proponent of financing, some of the international deals that happen with some of the groups like Boeing. Boeing was the biggest loser on the back of that yesterday, down over 2%. And that kind of comes on the back of the U.S. taking some risk there, but at the opportunity cost of losing that business if that facility's not there to people like Airbus and the like. So I think that's actually kind of a small it's a small loss for markets that a guy like Eric Cantor is all of a sudden out of the political world. So that's probably part of the reason why we saw a correction in some of those shares similar to the Boeings. Asia we saw down across the board for the first time in a while. We've actually seen all the markets moving in the same direction, but nothing of note. I mean, the Nikkei wasn't even down 0.7%. The next biggest move was down 0.3. I mean, it's absolutely a non-event. Probably just following a little bit on the back of the European session and the U.S. session yesterday. We did have some of the resource stocks that were down across the Asian region. Fortescue was downgraded by Morgan Stanley. We also had Anglo American, which is downgraded this morning by Morgan Stanley as well. So those, the mining stocks definitely under pressure a little bit. We had some of the technology and auto stocks that dragged on the Tokyo index a little bit as the yen showed some strength. But other than that, not a whole lot to pay attention to. Okay, moving on. This is quite an interesting chart here. It's just showing the palladium price and the move that we've seen over the past since the beginning of 2014, and it's come as a total dissemination from gold, with us really moving the complete opposite direction. The interesting thing about this is, we sit here and we watch the platinum price, and we kind of seeing the platinum price doing nothing when we forget that palladium is one of the biggest things that these platinum miners are pulling out the ground, and palladium price really taking off. So markets actually more concerned obviously about the palladium supply than they are about the platinum supply, and I know there's very little difference. We won't get into that, but bottom line is very quietly the palladium price is really running rather hard on the back of the supply concerns on South African strikes at the moment. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the platinum price. You need to keep an eye on the palladium price as well. All right, tomorrow, is anyone exited tomorrow? Oh yeah, Monday's a holiday. Sorry. Okay, so the last day to trade will be today for all of these shares. We've got ARRLs, we've got RLOs, MDCs, TONs, and MPCs, and some reasonable divvies amongst all of those. It's a holiday on Monday, so today is the last day to trade. They'll be going X tomorrow, so just keep that in mind. All right, we've got market data out today. We had some Japanese machine orders earlier, which were much better than expected. We've got CPI out of France in just a minute. We've got industrial production out of the entire Eurozone. Locally, we've got mining production and gold production. Obviously, we're expecting those to be shocking. We've got retail sales in the States. We've got initial jobless claims, and we've got Bloomberg Consumer Comfort. So we've got a big slew of data today. Obviously, jobless claims being the biggest one. You know, it would be worth keeping an eye on the mining production and the gold production numbers here locally. But all in all, the initial jobless claims will be the one to be focusing on the day today. All right, let's get into the maps real quick. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at is Amplats. Now, we'll have to zoom this in a little bit. And you can see here that Amplats really broke out from an inverse head and shoulder pattern yesterday. A little setup where we popped out the top. You know, it's not a real deep setup, so we're not expecting a huge move to the upside. But you know, conservatively, I'd say if we take it from the bottom of this candle, we're looking from 450. The breakout happened here at a 475. You know, so we'd be looking for 25 rand to upside, which would take us back to the magic 500 number in Amplats on the back of that. I mean, if you want to work off the wicks, then you could be looking all the way up at 510. So. Amplats definitely setting up a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders. Obviously, yesterday we got some bullish news. With something that we didn't mention in the written part earlier is about the government offering to, you know, come in and help with the housing subsidy, and then the platinum miners being able to add the money that they pay toward housing toward the salary for those workers. And so that's probably a big help, and the fact that the government's actually coming in to help them try to meet in the middle, I think is kind of a win-win. So that's definitely the reason why we saw the outperformance yesterday in these platinum shares. All right, if we look at Foschini Group, you can see here Foschini, after making that huge run up off the bottom, we had a pretty reasonable pullback. We came back up, retested the same level, almost kind of looked like it was going to double top, and then, you know, within another week and a half, we've already popped out of the top of this level above 113, so we closed about 30 cents higher than that, and it's a nice little breakout here. I think, you know, you're going to at least look for a 5 rand move to the upside, which would be the height of this channel. You know, you could really say that you can make an easy argument for an extra rand out of that, but, you know, let's look conservatively and say we should have 5 rand of upside above 113 on Foschini, which would take us up to 118 and right at the same highs of the last year. All right, if we look at Woolworths, sticking on the retail theme here, you can see we've really we've been kind of making a broadening formation. We had a couple days of reasonable selling, I think last week at the beginning of the week, and then we've really just kind of push back up, and we're testing resistance here already. Yesterday we actually got nicely through that, and then we came back down to close closer to the 76 level, which is right on the resistance of this. You know, I guess we would call it a flag. Coming back down here, testing support at 74, and then reversing back up to the upside. I think if this thing can get above, you know, can close above where we closed yesterday, I don't see any reason why we can't make another assault on 80 rand and you know, and rip to new all-time highs in Woolworths. All right, next one we'll look at is Grindrod. PIC came out yesterday, so they've upped their stake in Grindrod. Obviously, that's a positive for the stock. You know, after making this breakout from this you know, long descending triangle, we've managed to pop out to the upside here. And I think if we really have a look at the two tops that we put in previously, that also coincides quite nicely to where we topped out about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I think if we can pop up through that level, we've definitely got some more upside here. And this can maybe be looked at as more of just a longer consolidation pattern, seeing as how there's so many touches now at around this 2830, 2840 level. So keep that in mind. I think if we can break up above that level, we've probably got a good 3 rand 50, maybe even $4 to the upside in Grindrod. And then the last one we're going to show is AVI. We'll show this. We're going to go all the way back 5 years to have a look at this. This is how long this consolidation pattern has been going on for. I'm just going to zoom it forward just a touch. but there's really been a massive consolidation that's gone on here. You can really just see here. I'm drawing it like that simply because you can see that's where we broke out from. We've consolidated quite a bit above that for a long period of time, and only to really come back down and retest it. You can see there. You can draw this as kind of a lateral resistance. Sorry, I think there we go. Okay, well, you can draw this as a bit of a lateral resistance here at around 62, but I think the more appropriate way to draw this would be to take it up from the highs there when we spiked up or all the way back in 2012. And as you can see there, if we zoom even further in, that we're really kind of taking that out on the closing basis as of yesterday, or very nearly. I think it's just getting very close to the point of breakout here on AVIs, and I think if we can pop up, I would actually, I'd be conservative on this because this is so wicky, and there's so many touches up along here at slightly different levels. But I would say conservatively, you could look at this maybe at around 6150. If you can see it get above 6150, then I really think that there could be a good, $9 to $10 of upside here in AVI, and actually one of the nicer setups. And remember, the longer you consolidate in a trend like this, the harder the breakout typically will be. It's put in enough time at these levels, so it's lagged a lot of the other stocks in the index. We get above that 6150, I think you can buy this thing for a nice move. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.